Your emotional state right now is broadcasting a signal. Every feeling you've held today, every mood you've lingered in, every reaction you've recycled in your mind, all of it is tuning your energy field to a specific frequency. And most people have been stuck on the same channel for years without realizing they hold the dial. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how sustained emotion reshapes your vibrational reality, and why a few weeks of deliberate inner work can shift what years of wishing never could. The Hermetic tradition, one of the oldest philosophical systems we have, laid out 7 universal laws thousands of years ago. The third of these, the law of vibration, states that everything in existence is in constant motion. Every atom, every thought, every emotion vibrates at its own rate. The Kybalion puts it plainly: nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. And modern physics, centuries later, arrived at the same conclusion through quantum mechanics. Matter, at its smallest scale, behaves as vibrating energy. The ancient Hermeticists didn't have particle accelerators. They had direct inner observation, and they got there first, but knowing that everything vibrates is only the surface. The real question is this: what determines your vibration? Your body carries an electromagnetic field. Your heart generates one that can be measured several feet away from your chest. Every organ, every cell, produces its own oscillation. And your emotions, those feelings you think are just psychological, are measurable fluctuations in that field. Grief has a different electromagnetic signature than joy. Resentment broadcasts differently than gratitude. These aren't metaphors. Researchers studying heart rate variability have documented how different emotional states produce distinct, measurable coherence patterns in the body's electromagnetic output. Gratitude and appreciation generate smooth, ordered wave patterns. Frustration and anxiety create jagged, chaotic ones. So when the Hermetic teachers said that your inner state determines your vibrational frequency, they were describing something your body is doing right now. Feel your chest for a moment. Whatever tightness or openness lives there, that's the current broadcast. Here's where it gets crucial for anyone working with manifestation. A single moment of high vibration, a burst of joy, a flash of confidence, barely moves the needle. Your field responds to sustained states. Think of it like heating water. You can hold a match under a pot and the surface warms for a second. Remove the flame and it cools immediately. The water only transforms, only boils, when heat is applied consistently over time. Your vibrational field works the same way. Brief emotional spikes dissipate. Sustained emotional states restructure. This is why Neville Goddard emphasized living in the end so relentlessly. He understood that a 5-minute visualization session, followed by 16 hours of doubt, produces a net frequency of doubt. The math is brutal. Your dominant emotional state, the one you return to by default when no one's watching, when nothing exciting is happening, that's your actual frequency. The rest is noise. And your default state didn't arrive by accident. You trained it. Years of habitual worry trained a worry frequency. Years of feeling behind trained a scarcity frequency. Every time you replayed an argument in your mind, you were rehearsing a vibration. Every time you imagined the worst outcome, you were tuning your field to match it. The repetition calcified into a set point, a vibrational home base your energy returns to, automatically, like a thermostat resetting to its programmed temperature. So how do you change the setting? The Kybalion offers a direct answer through what it calls the principle of mental transmutation. You change your vibration by deliberately choosing a new emotional state and holding it long enough for the field to reorganize around it. The word transmutation is precise. Lead into gold. One frequency into another. The alchemists weren't always talking about metals. The practical challenge is that your current frequency feels like reality. When you've vibrated at lack for years, abundance feels like a lie. When you've vibrated at unworthiness for a decade, self-love feels performative. Your body resists the new frequency because the old one has become its identity. That resistance, that discomfort when you try to hold a higher state, is the single most important signal in your transformation. It means the shift is working. The discomfort is the evidence. Consider what happens in your body when you sustain a new emotion for even 72 hours. Your internal chemistry begins to shift. The hormones associated with your old emotional patterns start to decrease. The ones associated with your new state increase. Your cells, which have receptor sites tuned to the chemical cocktail of your habitual emotions, begin adapting to a new cocktail. At a biological level, you are becoming a different person. The Hermetic teachers describe this as raising or lowering your vibration on the mental plane. The mechanism is the same whether you frame it spiritually or biologically. Sustained inner states reshape the vehicle they inhabit. But most people abandon the practice right at the threshold. They hold gratitude for a day, maybe two. Then something triggers them, a bill, an argument, a memory, and they crash back to the old frequency. They interpret the crash as failure. Actually, the crash is part of the process. Every vibrational shift meets resistance from the old pattern. The question is whether you return to the new state faster each time. That recovery speed is where the real work lives. Neville called this mental diet, monitoring and choosing your inner state with the same discipline you'd bring to monitoring what you eat. Every thought you dwell on is food for your vibrational field. Every emotion you sustain is nourishment for the frequency you're building. And just like physical diet, one meal doesn't define your health. The pattern over weeks and months defines it. A single bad day of thinking doesn't destroy your vibration. A single good meditation doesn't establish it. Consistency is the mechanism of transmutation. The Hermetic tradition also teaches that vibrations of a similar frequency are drawn to each other. Like attracts like on every plane. When you sustain an emotional frequency long enough to stabilize your field at that rate, you begin to magnetically attract experiences, people, and circumstances vibrating at a compatible frequency. This is the esoteric basis of what modern teachers call the law of attraction, but the Hermetic framing is more precise. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you consistently vibrate, and that word, consistently, carries more weight than any affirmation. Someone who desires wealth, but consistently vibrates at financial anxiety, is broadcasting anxiety. Someone who desires love, but consistently vibrates at loneliness, is broadcasting loneliness. The universe responds to the sustained signal. The wish is irrelevant, the frequency is everything. Now, some might wonder, if it were truly this straightforward, wouldn't everyone do it? And this is where honest depth matters. Changing your sustained vibration requires confronting every unconscious pattern that maintains the old one. It requires sitting with discomfort without reacting. It requires catching yourself in habitual thought loops dozens of times a day and gently redirecting. It requires patience measured in weeks, sometimes months, while the outer world still reflects the old frequency. The outer world is always the last to update. It's a mirror on a delay. If you change the object in front of the mirror and then immediately check the reflection, you'll see the old image for a while. That delay is where most people lose faith. The Hermeticists understood this delay as a function of vibrational density. The mental plane vibrates fastest. Thought shifts instantly. The emotional plane vibrates slightly slower. Feelings take days or weeks to fully reorganize. The physical plane vibrates slowest. Material reality takes the longest to conform to the new pattern. Knowing this isn't just theoretical comfort. It's an operational map. When your outer world hasn't changed yet, you can check your inner vibration and ask, am I still holding the new frequency? Or have I let the reflection convince me to match the old one? This is the discipline the Hermetic path demands. You must become so committed to your new vibrational state that the old reality loses its power to pull you back. Every morning you wake up and choose the feeling of your desired state before your feet hit the floor. Every time doubt surfaces, you notice it without feeding it, and you return to the chosen frequency. Every evening, you fall asleep in the emotional tone of your fulfilled wish. Day after day, week after week, until the new frequency isn't something you practice, it's something you are. The water is boiling now, the transformation is structural. There's a passage in the Kabbalion that most readers skim past. It says the Hermetic master works on the mental plane, transmuting conditions from one vibration to another. The master doesn't fight the outer world. The master adjusts the inner frequency and allows the outer world to reorganize in response. That word, allows, is doing heavy lifting. It implies release. Surrender. The inner work is active. The outer result is allowed, received, trusted. Your energy field is already vibrating at a specific frequency as you hear these words. You train that frequency with years of unconscious repetition. The same mechanism that locked you into the old pattern is available to build the new one. Repetition. Consistency. Sustained feeling held with conviction until it becomes your natural state. The dial is in your hands. It always was. The only question is whether you'll hold the new station long enough for the music to change, or whether you'll keep spinning back to static the moment the silence between songs makes you uncomfortable. Sit in that silence. The new frequency is tuning in.